Hey guys, let's go ahead and start our next book. It's right here. We're going to start reading Boycott Blues today. How Rosa Parks inspired a nation. And remember, this text set is considered an author study, and so every single book that we read in this text set is going to be written by the exact same person. So by Andrea Davis Pinkney, and her husband worked with her on this book as well. He was the illustrator, so all of the photos, the pictures that you see in here, the drawings were drawn by Mr. Brian Pinkney. Okay? All right. So, have you ever felt unfairly treated or judged? Think of how that made you feel. Probably didn't make you feel very good, did it? I wouldn't imagine so. So this book tells the story of Rosa Parks, who was tired of being told where she was allowed to sit on the city bus because of the color of her skin. And what she did that prompted the Montgomery bus boycott in 1955. So this book is going to kind of let us time travel to that time in 1955, and we're going to get to experience firsthand kind of pretty much what she did, and how significant an impact it had on people of her time. All right, let's go ahead and dive right in. Boycott Blues, How Rosa Parks Inspired a Nation. Child, you have not known weary till you have walked in my shoes. You have not known low down till you have swung my song. Till you have sung my song. Sorry. You never hear a dog wail? You ever hear a hound moan? Well, listen good, because here it is. Steady, slow. A story told with steps, with tired feet, with tired bones. I'm going to tell the story with my guitar, so you don't forget, so you know how it goes. Dog tired, that's me. This story begins with shoes. This story is all for true. This story walks and walks and walks the blues to the blues. It was December 1st, 1955, when the blues came to call. The same day Jim Crow flew in waving his bony wings. Uh-huh, bony wings and all. Jim Crow landed with a will. Yes, he did, child. Yes, he did. Jim Crow was segregation. Laws that said black people and white people could not mix. And on that day, it was Rosa Parks who got Jim Crow's peck, peck, peck right up close. Rosa Parks was a seamstress who worked at the Montgomery Fair department store. On that blue as blue evening, Rosa's workday ended like any other. She stepped onto the Cleveland Avenue bus and paid her dime to ride. The bus was packed tight, but Rosa spotted an empty seat 1 row behind the whites only section. She sat down. When the bus pulled up at the Empire Theater, several white people got on. All but one of them found seats. The last was left standing. That's when Jim Crow showed up, strutting. Whenever Jim Crow got to laying down the letter of the law, to stating the state of segregation, He did it with his peck, peck, peck. And on this day, Jim Crow's peck was a duet. He was letting it fly with the bus driver, who, along with Jim Crow, stood over Rosa and told her to give up her seat to a white man who was still standing. Even with the blue-black wing pressed at Rosa's nose, even with the bus driver's finger waving at Rosa, even with Jim Crow's peck, peck, peck sounding like rust on a bed spring, Rosa stayed seated. Twice the bus driver told Rosa to move. Twice she looked at him without blinking, then turned her eye to Jim Crow, and all she said was no. "You're breaking the law," Jim Crow crooned. The bus driver said he'd call the police. Rosa told him to go ahead. So think about how you would describe what Rosa did here. I want you to think of several adjectives that would describe Rosa's actions and her personality. Think of those words that would describe her in this moment, describe her character and who she is. I can think of a few. The police arrested Rosa and took her to jail. Rosa's friend, E.D. Nixon, raised money for Rosa's bail. He got her released and told Rosa that if she were brave enough, she would stomp out Jim Crow. She could break those bony wings. She could stop Jim Crow's peck, peck, peck. She could help end segregation. Rosa agreed right away. On December 5th, 1955, the Black people in town stopped riding the city buses. They were protesting the treatment Rosa had received. So there's that same dog again in the photo that we saw at the beginning. What are your thoughts about the effect that Rosa's action and her punishment had on others? So what was the effect that Rosa's action and her punishment had on others? Seems like it had a pretty big effect, didn't it? You're going to get to describe that to me here in a little bit. That night at the Holt Street Baptist Church, Martin Luther King Jr. spoke to the people of Montgomery. "Child, child, I have put my doggy tail in that church every Sunday, but I have never seen so many folks at Holt. People came from all over to hear great Dr. King. He said that we should fight until justice runs down like a mighty stream. And fight we did. We fought a quiet fight. No slingshots, no weapons, not even spitballs. We fought with our feet. We said, if you don't, we won't. If you don't let us ride in any seat we wish, we won't ride at all. If you don't treat us fairly, we won't pay the fare. If we don't pay the fare, you won't have a bus business. And we won't let Jim Crow smack us back with his bony wings or slow us up with his peck, peck, peck. We won't." And we stood by our word. Yes, we did. Child, child, we did. What does "we fought with our feet" mean here? I want you to think about the concept of a peaceful protest and the impact this idea had on this experience here. Think about that. That's when our feet took to the streets, to the sidewalks, to the roads. That's when the city buses rolled and rolled, nearly empty they rolled. That's when the boycott blues truly began, when we walked with dogged feet, with dog tired feet, with boycott feet, with boycott blues. You see all those people? They're all walking instead of riding the buses. Do you think that they're going to have a, do you think they're going to get their point across? I think so. Let's find out. 90 days passed, we kept on. 100 days gone, we stayed strong. Walked in the rain, we did. Walked day and night, we did. Walked for our fight, we did. Yes, we did. Uh-huh, child, we did. So I want you to look at that photo there. This illustration is depicting the people and their peaceful protest. What does this event show about their dedication and determination? Look at that photo. What does that show about them? What does it show about their dedication and their determination? 120 days, 130, 150, walk to work we did, walk to school we did, walk to church we did. Yes, we did, child. Yes, we did. 180 days of walking, 100 degrees in the shade, sidewalks steaming, sweaty faces gleaming, hot dust rising off the roads, and the buses rolled and rolled. When the blues burned so blue hot that they turned our beat to a deep blue shade of determination, we found a way out of no way. We found other modes to get to where we needed to go. Soon, instead of only walking, we rode. Rode with our friends, we did. Rode with kind strangers, we did. Look at that. They decided to ride on, drive bikes instead. And scooters. I see scooters there as well. Rode past those empty buses, we did. Uh-huh, we did. Yes, child, we did. Didn't set foot on a bus either. No, sir, we didn't. Wouldn't pay our dime to ride either. Uh-uh. We still got to where we needed to go. We still stood by Rosa Parks for saying no. But Jim Crow, he was determined too. He kept up with his bony wings and his peck, peck, peck. Think about the competing forces at work during this peaceful protest. Who's competing against who? Who are the two forces? And why are they competing? I want you to think about the power that they had at that time. Okay? 200 days later, we were still going, blue and all. We pressed on. It wasn't all black folks boycotting either. Some white people came along for the ride too, to show us support, to help end Jim Crow. Soon there were all kinds of people with keep going feet, with can't stop us feet. There were black folks and white folks with the boycott blues. And time walked on and on. Day 22, day 20, no, day 220, day 262, 300 days of walking with the boycott blues. Wow. So the people look happy here. Do you think this book sounds almost like the song he might be singing? Why was it important that people of different races stood together in this protest? What was the significance in that? As strong as we were, so wanted to quit, and child, I can't say I blamed them. After all, when you've been walking from December to November, a bus begins to look like a sweet temptation, even if it means riding in the back, even if Jim Crow um, sits in your lap. When I saw somebody start to go down that road, when I heard somebody say, "What's the use? I'm paying my dime to ride," I played my guitar as loud as I could to drown out Jim Crow's peck, 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 to stir up a rhythm worth following, to somehow soften those boycott blues. Just a few more steps and we're there. I strummed my message loud and clear. Then came the miracle. The Supreme Court invited Jim Crow in for a visit and waved a gavel on his bony wings. The judge in the courthouse said, "Jim, you're all wrong." Right then, Jim Crow grew tired. His bony wings started to ache. His peck, peck, peck began to lose its point. Oh, child, that was a happy day. On November 13th, 1956, when the Supreme Court struck down the segregation laws, the bus drivers of Montgomery, Alabama were forced to say, "We will. We will let Black people sit wherever they want on city buses. We will not practice segregation anymore." So this page says that Jim Crow grew tired. What does this mean to you? What does that mean? That he grew tired. And the Black folks of Montgomery said, "We will. We will pay our dime. We will ride with pride. We will sit at the front of the bus and enjoy our view of justice." On December 21st, 1956, the law was official. Soon after, Black people had a front row seat right behind the driver. So did Rosa Parks. That was day 382 when Jim Crow flew away. He had no more power in Montgomery. It was the blues that got us through. It was the blues that helped our stride, because blue is so fine color that when it's painting the sky, blue is the promise of possibility when it comes on as the dawn. Blue is all beauty when it's flowing through a sea of hope. Now, segregation was a loser's croon, and child, we rejoiced. Our low-down tune changed to a celebration song. So, child, that's the end of my tale. Now you know how it goes. Now you see the power of won't stop shoes. Now you know the story of the boycott blues. Time to hightail it home. Bony wings, adieu. Peck, 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 later for you. Bye bye, boycott blues. That was such a good story. Boycott blues. Rosa Parks inspired a nation. Thanks for listening, you guys. Tune in soon for our next story. Bye.